All right. Hello and welcome to another episode of Session Zero, Magic the Gathering. This is Mick, and I just wanted to give an update. I haven't been making content for about 2 months after my trip to Europe for various reasons, mostly because of work. I am an animator, and it's sort of crunch time for me right now. I have been swamped, and I've been busy working on videos for work for the last 2 months. I do work in a startup, and so work always comes in. There's always something to do, and so that's occupied me for the better part of 2 months, and now 3 months going. I'm just trying. Right now I'm recording something new, partly due to the outbreak of the coronavirus. I am from the Philippines. People who can have been going home and staying at home, and even I've had to go home with my family, and I brought my equipment, and I thought I might as well take the time to record some content while I'm home based. And so here I am, and I know I missed a lot of good opportunities to record the past 2 months, especially with the release of Theros. There's been a lot of exciting things coming from that set, especially post Eldraine, and I'm expecting a lot from Ikoria, which is gonna arrive in about a month. Hopefully, things improve significantly. Here's to hoping that, and that the products can come unimpeded, among other things. But in the meantime, I will be making content that I wanted to make in the past 2 months, especially with a lot of deck ideas I've had. I have been playing Magic the Gathering Arena continuously. I just haven't had time to record and manage videos in the meantime. So I wanted to come back and make up for that by probably doubling down on on content, especially ever since the release of Theros. We've seen a lot of deck brews. I do like where the metagame is right now. In the same way that I liked Ixalan Ravnica Standard, I felt during that time you had a really wide pick of of decks, and it feels that way right now. Although I have been I have had to cut back on the decks I've wanted to play. I usually play Rakdos aggro for ranked, but I realize I can't play that as much right now. In large part due to a lot of high value cards that came in during Throne of Eldraine, and especially Theros, and especially with a lot of reanimation and recursion, especially with the new escape mechanic. And you have a lot of new planeswalkers as well. You have a lot of removal with the adventure mechanic from Eldraine. You have what are essentially 2-for-1 cards. And so I've had some trouble getting through as a while playing aggro. So, which makes me sad because I love aggro. I love Rakdos aggro at least. But especially with Witch's Oven and Cauldron Familiar, that small combo has been a pain. So I've just been toying with the ideas around. I do love the fact that blue white control has gotten support. I do consider myself a blue white player, a blue white control player. I love that's sort of the archetypes I love the most. That's where I started with blue white, and so I always love blue white. It feels quite chill to play, and also I get to think about I get to play reserve. Although the games do drag on for too long, and I've been decked a few times, I do love how the archetype has turned out. I love how it won the recent World Championship. Although I'm not a big fan of using very few creatures. So I'll make a blue-white control video, although that's probably been people have probably seen that to death, but I still want to make a video on that. Um, just to show how I play it, and just to show what I like to do, and just to try the builds that people have been playing. But for now, I'm featuring a I'm featuring a excuse me I'm featuring a blue-white build today, based on my old Flyers build, but incorporating the Constellation mechanic from Theros, specifically Archon of Sun's Grace. Ever since this card has came out, it's always interested me. I like the fact that you can produce tokens with it, although it does take a while because you do need to put down enchantments. But then you have some strong enchantments coming from Theros, such as Staggering Insight, um, which is essentially a what was that? The blue enchantment from Ixalan, which escapes me. But anyway, yeah. So it gives the enchanted creature +1/+1 in lifelink, and whenever the creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card. I like this a lot, actually. And then you have some unexpectedly strong, unexpectedly solid cards like Out of the Sea. At first, I didn't really like this card because to me it was very simple. Scry 2 didn't draw a card, not much, but then it has Flash. The Scry 2 actually is very strong, especially in a deck like this. I could afford to have fewer lands, I think, because of the if I'm fielding this because of the scrying. I'm just putting 2 here for now, but because as an aggro deck, there's very limited slots for non-creature spells. I am keeping. You have Starlight. You have from there. You have things like Starlight Mantle, which is enchantment, but I think which gives hexproof for a turn. But I think that pales in comparison to something like Lazarus Plating, which I've been using for a long time, and I still think this is one of the underrated cards. Um, this is one of the most underrated cards. It gives you and your permanents hexproof that effectively counters things like discard spells, removal against your creatures, and it gives you a zombie army to boot. So this has worked very well for me. I'm including 2 here. I might remove that eventually, but for now, just a little protection. I'm keeping it. I still have Rally of Wings here because this is a Flyers deck. All That Glitters has the power of All That Glitters has boosted since Theros came in, and a lot of these powerful new enchantments um, came into Standard. You have Vanishing Light being reprinted. It's another solid card that removes any non-land permanent until it leaves the battlefield. Something else I wanted to experiment with is Protean Thaumaturge. By itself, it doesn't seem like a very strong card. It's just a 1/1 for 2. It's a human wizard. It doesn't have anything else. Except for Constellation. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, you may have Protean Thaumaturge become a copy of another target creature. Except it has this ability. Now, I just wanted to experiment with this. I'm putting 4 for now, just to see more of it, just to see it very consistently. The idea here is that if you have, it is dependent on you having another creature, so there is that. But the idea here is that if you have something like Archon of Sun's Grace, or Empyrean Eagle, and you put down an enchantment, you can copy these core cards, and then you effectively, double on their effect. So that's the idea. There's only 10 enchantments here, though, if I recall correctly. Oh, there's 12, which is a fifth of the deck. So we'll see. We'll see how we do. I might still adjust this later on, but for now, where it is, it's pretty good right now, I think. I haven't played this in a while, so I'm gonna see how it fares. The last time I played it was during the release of Theros, because Azorius Flyers is one of the safe choices I resort to. It's not a fast deck, but since you're running blue, there's a lot of uh, spells that let you draw cards, and then since you're running white, you have a lot of removal. It's an all around good mid range deck that has evasion. So yeah, so I feel like it's quite solid, but we'll see how it does. I might still adjust this. There's a lot of options for uh, a more resilient build right now. Cards like Elspeth Conquers Depth has been very powerful, although it does cost 5. So if you want to have more resilience, you're gonna, if you wanted to have more resilience, I'm gonna have to fiddle with the mana curve a little bit. So, but for now, I'm keeping it. I'm treating it like a more on the aggro side. We'll see. I'll run a few games with it, and then I'll call the video there, and then maybe come back to this build at a later time. All right, so we're fighting 11 billion, and I'll keep that. That's a good one. We shall. Just need one more land, maybe. Although I will admit, the deck doesn't really match with high tier, with the top tier decks. I will admit that, especially with decks that have a lot of removal. You're just gonna have to power through those spells. I think I'm fighting Reanimator. Yeah, I am. Nice. This is another archetype I actually liked when Theros came out. Okay, so I'm gonna attack first. And I'll end my turn. Reanimator is also... Actually, Reanimator was the first build I was excited about because a lot of cards support Reanimator. A lot of cards from Theros support Reanimator. For example, I got 2 Polochronos during the pre-release, so I was excited about that. And then things like the new Chimera, I forget what it's called. The one that draws you cards whenever it's dealt damage, I believe. And then you also have cards like Escape. Reveals their entries and creature number. Okay. Duress. Okay. That is a bit of a problem. Let's attack first. I could use one more land. If I were to make a more control style build though, maybe I'll throw in Dream Trawlers. Dream Trawlers are solid, very strong. I made a mistake of targeting it with a removal spell, forgetting about the ability that gives it hexproof. So there is that. But I think the build's gonna be drastically different. It's probably not gonna include weenies in that case. No locks. There we go. We will put down an Empyrean Eagle. Attack Bolas, then attack Vraska. Alright, he's in range to use Blood for Bones. That's probably what he's gonna do, but there's not a lot of things he could bring back. That's pretty good. Put on another Empyrean Eagle. Well, I think that might be game, unless he has a removal. Well, yeah, it probably does. Kill the... yeah, there you go. Giving me a land, though. So... let's get an island. I'll still be dealing 5... no, well, at least 3 damage to him. Might kill my Thaumaturge, but it's fine. Oh no, this isn't a flyer, but still, he still has to block it. that gets rid of the Wolf Spore Shaman, which means if you wanted to... Oh, okay. He has Mausoleum Secrets. Gorging Vulture. That'll gain him life. You know what? I might actually think of running of making a video on Reanimator. Reanimator to me is very, very fun. It's very fun. That's all I can say about it. Let's make it easy for ourselves and return the Gorging Vulture to his hand and attack. That wasn't much, sadly. I was expecting something explosive, but we'll see. I'll have another game and then I'll call the video there. I am going to try to make shorter videos. I just want to feature the deck tech, really. Not yet anything, any gameplay. I don't want to feature serious gameplay yet. I don't consider myself that great at Magic. I might feature gameplay if I was trying to rank up. So I'll probably try out the different top decks at the moment, and then decks that I think are formidable. This particular deck I don't really to me is just fun, but you know, not necessarily competitive. But it's a safe and fun choice. Might actually I might actually build this in Paper Magic. Okay, let's start with a Plains and a Pegasus. That felt like a bad idea, actually. Blue-black. See, he might like Cryo the Carnarium. I should have noticed. Please don't. Please don't do that. These are all my creatures. Come on. There. Alright. So, I am going to go and attack. Let's hold. See what he does. Yeah, I didn't consider this. I can feel it coming. Is this a Ritual of Soot? I can feel it. I overextended. See? Yeah. Make sure you don't overextend, guys. Oh, wait, no. He's just gonna take control of a target creature with power 2 or less. What if I do this? Can I do this? I'm curious. Does that negate? Yeah, it does. It does. Hey, I've never done that before. Nice. That was pretty cool. Okay, Staggering Insight. I will give it to the healer off. I have never done that before. Interesting. I did waste it, but that was still pretty cool. Gotta say, it was still pretty cool. I'm gonna put the all-out glitters on this guy, so it doesn't get targeted by Connive again. Let's deal 8 damage. Alright. I'm just hoping he doesn't come down with a Massacre Girl or a Ritual of Soot. Please. Come on. He would... Yeah, there you go. He doesn't have the solution, so... There is that. That was also pretty fast. Maybe I'll run one more game and then we'll call it there. These games are going too fast. Not complaining, but okay, let's have a slightly longer game and then we'll call it. So, I do love aggro. I didn't start out as an aggro deck, as an aggro player, but I think ever since, because I stopped Magic for a while, and I switched to Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones supports a very Game of Thrones, I would say, is a slower game than Magic, but it does have a lot of support for aggro players. And so what I learned from playing Game of Thrones is that sure, aggro, you want to go for speed, right? But also at the same time, you also need resilience. If you can't sustain, okay, there it is. If you can't sustain, if you can't sustain your offensive, then there's no point playing aggro, because you know the slightest deflection, then your tempo is gone, and then that's it. Part of playing aggro is making sure that you can maintain your offensive. So that sort of rewired my mind about aggro, and I've sort of taken that mindset. I've taken that mentality over into Magic. So things like mono red is very powerful, but at the same time, it doesn't interest me that much. Well, partly because there's a lot of ways in which it can be thwarted if it's not fast enough. So if it's not fast enough, that doesn't mean it's not an effective strategy. But for example, right now, there's a lot of cards. There's a lot of solutions and a lot of tech against mono red. You you see these situations where mono red, for example, reaches finals and world championships, but they never. It's hard for them to win because you need to power through a lot of things. So that's also part of the reason why I prefer Rapdos, so black red over just red, because black you have far more options. You have removal, you have discard, especially discard. Discard is a great way to call this is a great way to sort of lock down your offensive by getting rid of solutions from your opponent's hand. Solutions that can thwart your offensive. Plus, they also have recursion, so there is that. Primary reason why I've much preferred black red. Also, maybe green red. See, so if it's Gruul or green red, you can field more power on the field. Sure, you do sacrifice some tempo, but it works out if you can maintain your offensive. Interesting little trivia. I did when I returned to Magic and I picked up Magic the Gathering online, Magic the Gathering Arena for the first time. I actually, what is this? Oh, okay. I actually started with green red because I thought that was a good way to just win games and start my collection, which worked out. So even though I'm not really a green red player, I don't consider myself a Gruul player. You know, it has a special place in my heart because of that. Let's see. What if we cast Vanishing Light on this Archon? Falling Stars. No! No! No, I didn't even know what was going on half the time. I was too busy talking. That was a black-white enchantment deck. I would have liked to see that. Okay. Well, anyway, I'm calling it there for now. I might revisit this archetype, this deck at a later time. For now, I hope you had fun. That was just a small video. I wanted to make sure I start posting again. Maybe post more often, because this is really one of the fun things for me, and it takes my mind off work. And I've been stressed at work a lot recently, and so it's refreshing to me whenever I post on YouTube. And hope you had fun. I will see you very soon. And hope you had fun, guys. Do like the video if you enjoyed what you saw. Subscribe. That'll help me out. Help the channel out a little bit. If you didn't like the video, click on the dislike. Maybe tell me why in the comments. I am very open to feedback, and probably your own experiences. Maybe like, let's say, why don't I leave you with a question for the moment? What decks do you enjoy playing, and what color combinations do you enjoy playing, without necessarily wanting to be competitive? Apart from, because Magic is a highly competitive game, but also you have a lot of room and choices really to make your own deck. What has been a particularly enjoyable deck to play for you, without that deck necessarily being competitive? Yeah, if that makes sense. Alright, so see you next time, guys, and stay safe, and have a good one.